All right, Sean here with a quick extra training on how to add many contacts to a workflow in drip mode. So let's say we want to invite a lot of people for Homeboss to an event, and we have those people already in our contacts. Now, very important that if you have some list of contacts, probably north of over 100, that you've cleaned and verify the email addresses before doing this, okay? So go watch our email deliverability best practices thing. Go and clean them yourself. You can have us do them for a nominal fee, but it is gonna hurt your email reputation, and if your bounce rate gets too high with bad emails, even if they look good, but they're no longer in use, or the person left the company that they were working for, or their inbox is full, or something crazy like that, your bounce rate will get so high we would have to deactivate your account until you're able to clean those up. So make sure you've already done that before doing this. But if you want to send an invite to a whole bunch of people, I'm going to select some records here, and then I will show you. Give me just a second. All right, so I'll give you a good example of how you could create a list if you wanted to go in and find a list of people that you want to invite to, let's say, Evergreen event number 2. Maybe you want to go in here and say tag is event 2. Let's say event 2 attended, right? Sorry, event 1. I'm going to choose event 1 attended. And then I'm going to invite those people to event 2. I think you could perennially just be inviting people, but I'm just going to do that as an example. Okay, so I just got one. Let me find another list here. Okay, here's one. So what I'm doing here is, just for the very first time here, I'm going to say tag is not event 1 invited. So these are people I haven't invited to event, or maybe you've got one called Sphere or Prospects or whatever that may be, okay? So I'm going to save this as a smart list, and I'm going to give it a name. Event 1 not invited, okay? And I would say just start with your co-brokes or whatever, but in this case, I've got that smart list. I'm looking at that smart list. I'm going to select all 129 records, and then this is the important button here, add to campaign or workflow. So I'm going to click that button. When I click that button, it's going to say, all of these plus 119 more, okay to proceed. And then here is where I am going to invite them to the event 1. So event 1 invited workflow, but instead of all at once, I'm going to choose drip mode. This is very important. Choose add in drip mode, and what I'm going to do here is just call them event. I'm just going to give it a name just so I can see it in my bulk actions later, and I can choose a start time. So I could choose to have this start right now. I generally go at least a few minutes out on, this is company time zone here. You should all be on, your attraction for Homeboss should always be on a company time zone of Eastern, because we count down to the event date from the Eastern time zone. So make sure that, because it's only happening once per week and only at 12 p.m. Eastern on that Thursday, make sure that that you don't change your company time zone. Okay, so this is going to be in company time zone, which is in a few minutes, and then batch quantity here. And I could do something simple, like I could say like one email at a time, one person added to the workflow at a time. It'll send an email and a text message. Repeat every 1 minute. Okay. So, and it's going to send out, I'm not going to put any gates on this, like only start sending after 8 a.m. or end before, 9 p.m. or something like that. I'm not going to select that in this case, because I've got 129 records. They're going to go out in 129 minutes. Okay, starting at 12:21 p.m., which is fine because 129 minutes is about 2 hours. But if you had a lot, you could go in here and choose a start and end date in time, or you could even choose not to go out on Saturday or Sunday. Okay, again, assuming here you've got a clean list. So, and you could do a batch quantity of 2 every 1 minute, but this is a list I'm still needing to warm up, so I'm just going to do a batch quantity of 1. And realize too here, you really don't need to select seconds. Most of you are going to be selecting minutes, okay? And you could say repeat every 5 minutes, and then this would add one person to that workflow every 5 minutes. So 5 minutes into 60 minutes in an hour is going to be like 12 per hour. Okay. But I'm going to put it back to 1 every 1 minute. I'm going to click. As soon as I hit add to campaign workflow, it's going to begin. Okay. And you'll see this kind of spin here. And then it'll say your bulk action has been scheduled. Click here to check the progress. So I always do that just to make sure, just to kind of double check myself, make sure I've got it set up properly. And you can see here who the user is, when this bulk action was created. And by the way, if you ever need to get back to this screen, you're just going under contacts and then up here bulk actions. These are like mass actions, like a mass text, a mass email, or in this case, a mass workflow launch. And you can see it says queued because if I click on view details, here's all the details of it. Event 1 invited, so that was the name I gave it. And let's see, this is the workflow, so I can confirm I got the right workflow. And this is when it's going to process next. And processing is allowed 7 days a week. It's going to delay 1 minute between batches and add one person at a time. So I can see that I did it appropriately. And if I ever need to do it, if I ever need to check on it after the fact, it will show up like this, and it'll show completed on, and it'll say show stats. And here I can go and I can see the stats. Again, if I need to have any questions on that, I can go here and see the stats. I've also got some, little things over here. If there's ever an error, often you would get an error when it's like a completely invalid email, completely invalid or missing phone number. So error just means like it tried to like send out the text message or add them to the workflow, but it couldn't. And so let us know if you have any questions, but that's how you do the add to a campaign or a workflow. Thanks.